What's up, Doc? Welcome to the Docs Get Money podcast. Are you a badass doctor killing it professionally and has bigger dreams than just clocking in and out of the hospital? Do you want to leave behind a legacy that is as lit as an HBCU homecoming? Want to know how other doctors are getting to the big bag? That's right, making 5, 6, and 7 figures without putting on the white coat? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Kimberly, but you can call me Kim or KB. I went from being a burnt out and overwhelmed emergency physician to the founder and CEO of 2 6-figure non-clinical companies and beating burnout along the way. I'm also your business coach, here to help you make money moves to change the world. This podcast isn't just about making money, though. It's about leveling up your life, mindset, and bank account so you can build an empire that's as iconic as Beyonce. You ready? Let's get into it. If you're sitting on a mountain of expertise and wondering if it's possible to replace your clinical income while practicing full-time, I've got news for you. It's not just possible, it can happen in 90 days or less. But only if you create your FIRE offer, your express lane to fast income and a lifestyle that allows you to retire early, all while keeping your day job. Tailored for doctors ready to change lives outside of the exam room, you go from concept to cash in under 90 days as a consultant, coach, or midterm rental business. Think it's a stretch with your schedule? Think again. With the FIRE Offer Combustion Kit, you'll craft your expertise and story into an offer that's too hot to touch and sell it to make your first 4 or 5 figures. Ready to change lives and make bank fast? DM the word BURN to me, Dr. Kimberly, at Dr. Kimberly B on Instagram, and let's start a fire. Dr. AP, thank you so much for being a guest on the Docs Get Money podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so excited to be joining with you today and talking about our stories. It's always great to see you.
I know, it's always great to be with you as well, too. We were just kind of like chatting off screen about a whole bunch of different other stuff. We were talking about our mothers. We were talking about fashion. We were talking about all the different things that we've got going on. So it almost feels weird to just like kind of catch the audience up. But we've met each other, I don't know, it's been not that long ago. So, yeah, just since July, and have had a really fun working relationship with each other. But I'm just going to let you take it away. So why don't you introduce yourself to the Docs Get Money podcast audience?
What's up, docs? My name is Dr. AP. I am a general surgery resident, and I am the CEO and founder of Powerplay Cosmetics.
Yes. Okay. So you are a resident and you are a founder and the CEO. So we're going to put that to the side for just a second. We're going to wind back to that. If you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you grew up, how you even decided to become a physician and more specifically go into general surgery. So tell us.
Yeah. So I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but really I say I hail from Atlanta. I had spent 17 years. You see how the Atlanta just came out real quick? I spent about 17 years down south in Atlanta, and my introduction to medicine was like low-key traumatizing. I actually had 3 back surgeries. Your girl was septic, almost died. But I remember my surgeon at that time, which was an orthopod rather, talking me through the process of phagocytosis. And he was like, look, this is what's happening with this infection in your body, and this is how your body's responding. And my mind was blown. Like, even though, he had all of this stuff to do and, he still took time to like rope in an 11-year-old on what was going on with their body to a level that they could understand. And that changed my trajectory completely. And I had resolved that I wanted to be a part of this like healthcare journey for others, especially having that experience and walking other people through it. At that time, I did have a really bad scar because, again, infection, non-healing wound, and all other things. And so that completely also changed my trajectory. I was very self-conscious and wanted to do nothing more than hide that. And so later on, it would come up to help me find my calling and what I wanted to do in terms of medicine and surgery. So
Let
yeah.
me ask you this, because that's the second time I think in the last couple of weeks since we've talked to each other that the back surgery thing has come up. What actually happened to you, if you don't mind sharing? Like, why did you need a back surgery even at
Yeah.
all?
So I had scoliosis, and there's different severities, of course. There's, the mild where you can just, either wear a brace or just, conservative management. But my Cobb angle was like 42 or something like that, which is like, there was a conversation that, if I were to ever become pregnant in the future, would I even be able, like, would my spine be able to support the weight of a actual human being and a growing child? And my parents are African, and that's something that's very important to them. And so they wanted to help me in the future to be able to, have a normal life. So I had this surgery, except my hardware got infected. And then I had to go for washouts, and, I missed 4 months of school. Like it was really a journey. And a lot of that, again, was life-changing for me. And the biggest thing that I could take away was, how could I make this something positive for myself and my family? And I decided to choose a career in medicine,
That's really
specifically
dope.
surgery.
Wow. Okay. So scoliosis. I remember. So of course, I'm not a pediatrician. I'm an emergency physician. But I just remember when I was growing up as well too. My mom always just talking to me about my posture and things about that. And of course I remember learning about scoliosis in medical school and on my peds rotation. But to realize that could have potentially, or you had it so severely that it could have impacted you as an adult. I didn't realize it could get that far. I never thought it was all that big of a deal, because the only cases that I guess have been ever exposed to was the milder ones, where just, oh, stand up straight, wear a back brace, mind your posture, you're fine, like nothing to be really worry about. So that's kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even now after I had the surgery, so like they did the initial surgery, put my rods in, then they realized I had gotten an infection, but your spine can fuse within a year. So they tried to keep my hardware as long as they could for that year for it to
Okay.
fuse. And like even now, like, people who are in medicine can notice like my posture is a little bit different, even though I've had the surgery to correct it. So even my correction is still not quite normal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how that'll influence my, future capacity, but I know it has changed which specialty I want to go into, because being a surgeon, you got to be on your feet a lot,
Yeah.
use your back a lot, but I can't be doing all of that craziness. So finding a career field that allows me to, still pursue my passions without overexerting my body, that's why I'm like progressing towards something called lifestyle surgery. So, yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute, because that sounds
Yeah.
new. So I'm like, wait a minute, we were talking about cosmetics just like Saturday. So what do you mean? Okay, so that led you, and that really opened the door to your understanding as to you potentially being a physician, since that having that ortho.
Oh, I was dead sure. Nobody could tell me I was not going to be a surgeon. What kind of surgeon I was going to be, no idea. But you could not tell me that I was not going to be a surgeon. And like people did tell me, quite frankly, they were like, first of all, you're from Riverdale, Georgia. You're from the hood. 99% of your school's on free lunch. You ain't got no doctors in your family, and you're trying to be a who? Oh, okay, yeah. Maybe you should look into being an assistant. Maybe you should, look into other things. And I'm like, again, you're not hearing me whenever I'm telling you that I'm going to be a surgeon. Now I'm going to prove you wrong. And that just let me go to the moon.
So who told you no along the way?
Girl, it was anybody and everybody who had a mouth, because again, it was like, I'm just not cut from that traditional cloth where you go from the best schools. I remember talking to my guidance counselors in high school, even like my pre-med. Oh my God, there was I'm not going to name drop them. There was one of my pre-med counselors. I had gotten at the point where I had already did my extracurriculars, wrote my personal statement, and I was ready to go. And I had him read my personal statement. And now for me, like my writing, like whenever I talk about my story, I'm talking about the things that happened to me, is getting deep. Yeah. And so to let somebody read that, it's almost like coming at them with a bleeding heart. And he was like, you sound weak. I wouldn't accept you, and it made me feel some type of way. And one of my classmates was like, you know what, just go ahead and apply anyway. What does he know? Girl, applied, got in. And the first thing this man said to me was, oh, I knew you were going to get in.
Oh, really?
I submit my application because of this person saying that I couldn't do it, and the way that I was presenting myself was weak. Who's weak now? Turns out, girl, he's a bitter ex-pre-med. I was like, oh, no, 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 no. That I kept in my pocket going forward because a lot of people will prophesize on your journey and what you're able to do based off of their limitations. So, yeah. Yeah.
Podcast audience, I don't know if you are have a notebook and a pen handy, but you might want to write that down because that is the truth. People will prophesy over your life based on their own limiting experiences of themselves, trying to tell
sad.
you.
It's sad. I feel like it comes out of good intentions sometimes, but at the same time, your journey is your own. And I have learned to not tell yourself no. Like, put yourself out there, put your ideas out there, apply for that job, apply for that school, all of that, and let them be the ones to tell you no. Don't tell yourself no, because you never know what story will go.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Don't block your blessing before you've even asked for it. Really. Right. Put yourself in the position to receive it. I love that. So, okay, so it was everybody, your guidance counselor in high school. It was even the undergraduate pre-med advisors trying to tell you all of those
around
things.
Me, especially people around me, because again, you're coming from the same community as me, and I have all these obstacles, and you mean to tell me you can overcome that? Like, it makes people look at themselves like, kind of, why am I still here if other people can do, more with less type thing? So, yeah.
Absolutely. So, where did you go to undergrad specifically, and then where did you end up going to medical school?
Yeah, so like I was saying, I've been down south for like 17 years. So I did my undergrad at Georgia State University. I actually did something called dual enrollment, which is, again, laser focused on this goal of getting into medical school. As a high school senior, I decided to take classes at Georgia State University. So it's not like AP classes where you're at, your normal campus, or not campus, but your high school. I was literally at Georgia State getting my classes for free and starting my degree. And so technically I finished my degree in neuroscience with honors in 3 years. So.
Wow. Okay. And did they have an automatic acceptance to medical school, or was it just a high school and then the bachelor's type of match?
Exactly. So I chose, and the way I actually chose neuroscience, again, it just goes to my resilience to want to prove people wrong. I looked at literally all of the majors and I was like, this sounds like the hardest major on here. And who wouldn't want to be a Black girl neuroscientist? Like, I think that'll help me get into med school, stand out. And so, yeah, I chose that and I went with it. And it was like not a linear pathway. Georgia State doesn't have, a medical school that's associated with it. And so I had to apply on my own. I, was at that point, I think 20 years old. I got into medical school when I was 21. So yeah, it was
Girl, medical school at 20. So I was applying and that's what I thought that I wanted, but life didn't end up like that for me. And I'm actually grateful for it, but that happened for you. Me at 21, I was so ridiculous at 21. Like,
I'm ridiculous now.
But I was like, I think more ridiculous, but I think I also took myself way too seriously in some ways as well too. I thought my life had to be in such a certain way. So I guess, and then you're just trying to drink and understand whatever you get. You have all these new permissions.
My first drink was not until my second look at the medical school that ended up accepting me. Like that I was so laser focused. There was not a college party. There was not a nothing. I had 4 jobs in college. Like, I moved out of my parents' house. My, upbringing wasn't the most gentle environment, to say the least. And so I moved out like immediately whenever I turned 18. I had to, be able to fund my own place. So I was working 4 jobs because, there's not a job really that you can get straight out of high school that's going to support all of your bills and things like that. Right. And on top of that, I was volunteering at literally every local hospital. And I did that with again, I'm always kind of impressed whenever I think about myself. I was like, if I can get a badge at every hospital, I'm going to find a surgeon and then just be like, hey, I already have a badge. Can I come hang out with you in the OR?
I love that.
Secondary motivations kind of, but for a good cause.
Yeah.
So your girl was booked and busy, but at that time, doing all of those things, I literally neglected myself like nothing else. Like, I didn't take time to pour back into myself and, present myself in a way that I felt, my most confident self. And that was something I held on to and completely changed my trajectory and how it would move in the future. So, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really deep. That's really dope as well too. I see so many different things that I've personally done, and I think that has got me along on my journey.
Mhm.
And that's what I hear you just saying. Is just like the kind of just the figure it out ofness it
Mhm.
all. Like I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I think if I just try this,
Yeah.
then maybe this will lead me down the right path. Maybe if I just work at every hospital, get a badge, and I'm gonna meet someone, and
Mhm.
then I'll be able to just say, hey, I want to be you, can I just shadow you?
Yeah.
And then just kind of going there, because you didn't see, like you just said, you didn't have it in your family, you
Mhm.
didn't know anybody else that
Had to
was a
get in
surgeon.
some way. I'm
Yeah.
getting in. I'm sneaking in. Okay.
Back door, trap door, back door, like nope, I'm here, like I don't care. I
Yeah.
love that. I absolutely positively love that. It reminds me a little bit of myself, and I hate to keep saying that, but it reminds
Which
me of
one
when I
thing?
wanted to match into my program. It's like I heard about my, like the Memphis program starting. I heard about it on online on like a forum, like could have been random gossip. I called the hospital. People are like, you did what? I called the ER and asked whoever picked up the phone, hey, do you have a residency program starting? Oh, yes, I can introduce you to the person. He's usually here, but
Mm-hmm.
just
Nothing.
like people just think that it's so far away from them, when it's just like simple, tangible things that we can do to just move forward to our destiny. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just love to see anybody doing that, but especially to know that that's a part of your journey as well, AP. So okay, so anyway, so did you ever meet a surgeon in the
Yeah,
hospital?
well, I'm not a surgeon because
Okay,
like they were obviously always like operating pre-op and stuff like that. But I was paired with an anesthesiologist. That was how I got into the OR.
got
It was
it.
a pediatric anesthesiologist, and I was just again, shadowing because I wasn't 100% sure. I was, but still trying to keep an open mind. And I'm like peeping over the curtain. I'm like, what is he doing? I'm
Yeah,
trying to do what he's doing. And so that again reaffirmed to me that I would like to be a surgeon. And so I just kind of held on to that experience. And I'm like, okay, I've seen enough. I have my volunteer hours. I have my shadowing hours. Let's send off this application and let's
mm-hmm.
see what pans out, regardless of what people say. And I talked about, my upbringing being from like not that typical cloth.
Yeah,
And that connected with so many people on that interview journey. I remember this is how I ended up choosing the medical school that I, ended up going to. I was crying in the office with my interviewer because she was like, "This is your life? Like this happened to you?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like, and this is what I want to do with it. This is my dream. This is my vision. And she's like, "Yes, then you need to go. Like, come here and we can help you." And I was like, "You know what? That's it.
yeah,
This is the one." Yeah.
yeah. So that took you
Yeah.
to, was that Morehouse School of Medicine?
It was Medical College of Georgia at Augusta University.
Okay, okay.
It was in Augusta, Georgia, which was a blessing in disguise because I feel like in Atlanta, trying to keep up with, the life of Atlanta and being a young person and being in medical school might have posed an issue, especially because I never took the time to really enjoy young adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I might have been a little bit distracted. And so moving away to Augusta, nothing's going on in that city. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to be able to just focus on my studies and build up, the profile that I needed to fit the bill in surgery. So.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so then you finished at the Medical College of Georgia at Augusta, in
Mhm.
Augusta. Okay, and so now you are a general surgery resident. Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, third year. I'm like, okay, fine. It's finally the time. I said I want to be a surgeon. I'm about to start my surgery rotations. And my first day, like Augusta is predominantly white city
Mm-hmm.
and even like predominantly red city. So I already feel like a sore thumb. And I remember my confidence was like negative
Hmm.
being in space. First of all, I'm a student. The OR environment is not kind towards students. Then I'm this 5'11" Black woman. I am saying I want to be the surgeon. I am feeling all of the weight, all of the pressure of I don't fit in this space. And something has to give to be able to help me feel a little bit more confident. And so, you got a hair tie on, you got your mask on, you got a uniform on, and I'm just like, I need something. So I started wearing lashes,
Mm-hmm.
and that began a whole nother arc of my character that I'm so glad that I decided to embark in, you know?
Tell me what
So,
wearing lashes in the OR did for you.
oh my God, I would walk in there and I felt like I could look people in the eye. Like normally, like when you're not confident, you're going to dart your eyes, you're going to try to shrink down into the corner. But when I have my lashes on, I know my lashes are hitting for something. Given it would take a lot to find a pair that I could wear that are cool with safety goggles and things like that. But whenever I had them on, again, I felt like I could like walk in and like own the room. Like that was the feeling I was trying to get to. Because again, I'm supposed to be growing into this surgeon, right? And that is the goal, is to be able to run the show. You know, of course, the patient is the most important person in the room, but at the same time, everything has to be orchestrated so that I could successfully do what I need to do for this person.
Right.
So yeah, I felt confident. I felt like I belonged in this space. I could speak up a little bit more because again, that confidence that was within started radiating out. That was my that was my armor to be able to be in that space. So
how did you show up differently after that? Can you give us a little bit more of an example of how
like if we're doing something like, you know, in terms of getting ready for a case the night before, you might watch a YouTube video, you might look at some anatomy and things like that. And normally, like, you know, if you're just a medical student, you want to shrink down. You might know what's going on, but you don't really want to say it out loud for the sake of being wrong. I'm like, you know, okay, this is the renal pedicle, like, you know, starting to talk about things and contributing to the conversation because I feel a little bit more confident. Like it just changed almost like my swagger and the way I carried myself. It did something for me. And I would notice on the days where I didn't commit to it, how I didn't feel like I had my little secret weapon. So yeah, I kept with it and it mattered to me. It made a difference to me.
Okay. Yeah. So now that leads us to, it sounds like somehow you're the founder and the CEO of a beauty company? When did that happen?
So I ended up, you know, going on my match journey. I thought initially that I wanted to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. That's a story in itself, but, you know, I didn't end up matching into that specialty, which at that time I thought was the end of the world. But as I'm now growing, because again, whenever I graduated medical school, I'm 24, 25, very young, and I had all the energy in the world. And I ended up at the busiest level 1 trauma center in the United States, almost the world. The only other place they say was more busy is like a trauma center in Johannesburg or something like that. This is what all of my attendings and directors of trauma would tell me. So I did a year there and I'm a prelim. So they're like throwing me on trauma. I'm seeing all types of human conditions that are just not something you should be exposed to on a day-to-day basis. And I felt like, and this is no disrespect to people who are in the military, but I literally felt like I was in the trenches. Like I have PTSD from some of the things that I've seen. That completely shifted my paradigm. And I'm like, I just want to bring beauty to this world that I have seen can be so dark. How can I do that? Where in the realm of surgery does that fit in? And so I'm having this idea in the background of what I want to do, but, you know, in general surgery and trauma surgery, like there's just not that area. And so I ended up coming across the American Academy of Cosmetic Surgery, which is, you know, a specialty in itself. And the literal concept of it is to help people, you know, build their confidence and bring beauty into the world. And I'm like, finally, like, this is my thing. This is what I want to do. And from there, I just like hone down on it. And I'm like, you know, this is what I need. I need to move myself from this environment, first of all, that is very toxic for me. And I need to get to a space where I can find out how to be a good surgeon. And then the goal after, you know, setting up my foundational pillars of how to be a good surgeon, add on to that by becoming a cosmetic surgeon. Yeah.
I love that. And as an emergency physician, I completely get that because, I mean, Memphis, Tennessee, everyone has their thoughts about that. We were on the first 48 for years for a specific reason. And then I also did rotations in Cook County in Chicago, which has been well known about all the trauma. So what we don't talk about in medicine, and people always ask us, ooh, what's the worst thing that you've ever seen? Yeah, you might not want to ask us that because it is very triggering, because we do see so many painful, difficult things that it's not natural for anyone to see. And we have to deal with
day in and day out.
Day in and day out, being able to separate ourselves from that and being objective and still working on the most important person in the room, like you said, is the patient, and still realizing that we have our own humanity in that as well, and processing that. So I totally understand why you would want to dismiss yourself from the CT surgery of it all
Yeah, I
and
was
the
like, you know
gunshot
what?
wounds to the chest and all of the other things,
Yeah.
the aneurysms and all of that that occurs. That makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't need to be the guy. Like a big part of that, honestly, I felt like was maybe because of a little ego and all of that. And I just realized I don't need to feed that part anymore. Like it doesn't need to take over me. And whenever I think about who I was before medical school and before all of those things that happened to, lead me to that career path, which was rooted in trauma,
Mm-hmm.
I realized I was a creative person. I loved making things. Well, I would go get furniture that was like on the curbside or Facebook Marketplace. Somebody just wants to get rid of it, scrub it down, strip it and make it into something new. That was the person I was. I love revitalizing things and giving them new purpose and making them shiny and pretty. Like, why is that not enough? Why can that not be meaningful? No, it's not cracking a chest. It's not saving a life, but improving a life can be just as important as saving one.
Absolutely. So tell me how power play came into play or comes into play for all of this.
Yeah. And so, whenever I was going through that third year of medical school and I'm like, I need that confidence boost, at some point I realized I can't be the only one. Like there's other people who could benefit from this. And I had the idea of starting like, a company, to try to help with that. And at that time, I'm in medical school, so I can't really fund that venture on my own. You have to pay into that system. And so it kind of stayed on the back burner. Then I didn't match. Then, I did match. Then I needed to move. And it was just a bunch of life things that kept happening. And so it got put on the back burner. And then once I settled here at my current residency program, and, I had already done a year, and it wasn't like intern year all over again where it's that steep learning curve. It's just, now adjusting to the new system. I had a little bit more, I guess, finesse with how I balanced my time to be able to really put in and figure out the infrastructure of starting a business. And I did. Got my LLC. I set up my website. I figured out what my inventory was going to look like, what my product line was going to be, who I was talking to, who's my ideal clients, and really starting to, come up with the foundational pillars of what makes a business. But, I had these big ideas. I'm like, that's the CEO of Power Play Cosmetics. But I'm like, okay, but how do I like actually translate that into something? And I was just kind of lost because, again, nobody in my family is a business owner. Nobody has ever, told me how to do this. And I met you. Oh my God. And that, again, took me to the moon. I'm like, finally, I have somebody that I can bounce ideas with, figure out how to strategize, how to make this a reproducible, outcome where I'm reaching that person that I'm trying to reach and providing them the service that they need to feel confident in their everyday life. So,
yeah. Well, Power Play has been like nothing. It's been nothing but up since you started in May of last year, right? It was 2023. So this is a brand new baby company doing well, but I just can't. I just remember when I came across your website, when I came across you and we connected with each other, I was blown away at the story more specifically than anything else of how you felt so confident to share how I felt as a medical student as well. Lots of times not lots of times, I was the only one, only Black woman, only minority. And then coming into residency, being the only Black woman and the only Caribbean grad, I had a lot of thoughts about that as well too. But being able to translate that pain into pleasure and to being able to then create a product from that would instill that level of confidence and being able to express that story. And so in such an impactful way, like what you've done with your brand so far. So
that's what we're here for, girl.
Yes, I know. So tell us a little bit more about Power Play Cosmetics. Like tell us specifics.
Yeah, and so, our main thing that we're trying to do is bridge something called the confidence gap. What that actually is, whenever you look at the workplace, women, though, will have the criteria, the qualifications, the experience, and things to be able to, take on whatever objective is presented to us. For some reason, we still will feel like we're not as competent to do it. And that's coming from a lack of confidence. If you ask, I think there was a study that I saw actually through Botox Cosmetics, they said 50% of women at some point in their career have cited that they felt unconfident in the workplace. And that was where my struggle was rooted in. And so I felt like being able to provide an adjunct to, help women uplift themselves, empower themselves in the workplace so that, especially as more women are working, more women are in management, more women are CEOs, like what products specifically exist for working women to feel more confident if we know that this is a global, and continuous problem. And so I built my company to be a solution to a market issue. And that's, I think, what makes a successful company is actually solving a problem and it being a passion project of somebody who actually, has stood to benefit from the problem they're trying to solve. And so, we got our website up and running and we've been doing promotions and reaching out to people through social media. And we've made, sales and even had feedback from people who have bought from us and talking about they're rocking their lashes every day and they're feeling confident. I remember there was a nursing student or a pre-nursing student who reached out to us and let us know how much they were loving their lashes and wearing them every day and felt that same confidence. So it's now a reproducible affect. Like that is what it serves to do. So it's a product that works and getting it out there and hoping that we reach more people is the goal.
What I love about you, AP, and what I love about what you're doing with Power Play Cosmetics is because you don't despise small beginnings and the fact that you have had your initial sales and your initial success because you are not afraid to go out there and share with your immediate environment of people what you've got going on and how it's impacting you. You're not afraid to step up and own your own story. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, when we're in our first few phases, especially us as physicians, we are not, we're kind of just a part of the humdrum of it all. We don't get a chance to step up and hear our stories and share our stories as much. I think maybe Black and brown physicians, maybe we get a little bit more of an opportunity because our communities hold us so high on our pedestal. But you don't shy away from the fact that you were confident enough in saying, I didn't feel comfortable here. And I needed a way for me to feel comfortable because there is nothing in this environment, especially in a cold ass operating room where you got to stay sterile and you have to be like this for me to feel my full and complete self. And so no physician that I have ever met has said that, even though we all feel that. And we don't recognize that as a universal story and being able to try to translate a tool that you use that was helpful for you to pass it to someone else. So that's why I love your story. That's why I love Power Play. That's why I love you more specifically, because like I said, you say own the room. I love the fact that you own the story, which helps you to own the room. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. It just, and I felt all of that when I first met you. I'm like, not even when I first met you, because when we got on the phone, everything was just matching. But when I got that initially from the website, okay, we keep referring to this website. What's the website? Just drop it right. Just say the website name.
www.powerplaycosmetics.com.
Yes. So you can go on there and make your purchases and see exactly what I'm talking about. But read Dr. AP's about page. If you're a Black woman, hey, if you are anybody but a white male in medicine, you are probably going to resonate with her story. Maybe it's not you putting on a pair of lashes, but the way she talks about what she was feeling, I think we've all been there. And I love that you were so vulnerable enough to share that, because that's why, like I said, Power Play is nothing but up ever since that. So
And I feel like it just resonates throughout even the name of the company. I love the idea of it being power play because it's now, allowing us to number one, use our beauty to assert confidence in a space that wasn't for us. So, and then there's, bringing the element of power and then lashes, there's a little bit of play. I feel like just in totality, it's just the perfect representation of what I'm trying to achieve. And I'm really excited. I really, really am. And
well, me too. So, okay, so we have right now the product is mainly just lashes, but can you tell me the latest thing that you have in store? Because I'm
yes.
looking right at it, but I'm gonna let you tell us before I just throw it up on the camera.
Yes. So I actually just recently launched something called the Confidence Kit. It is a 5 pack of lashes and it reminds people to, number one, own the room, which is our slogan. There's a pair that's missing because I have them on right now. But I think the biggest thing that this confidence kit brings to people is that empowerment to be able to own your day, own the room, in various different styles. And so all of these lashes are supposed to be work appropriate, meaning that, a lot of our community loves wearing lashes and I love them. I love them. I do. But there's a fine balance of being the professional and, going out and being on the town. Girl, we are not bringing the spider lashes. We're just not doing that. I'm sorry. If you're a 25 millimeter girl, that's amazing. But I can't. You don't want your surgeon in 25 millimeter lashes in the
No,
butt.
you don't.
I'm sorry. You just don't. So these are supposed to be, the professional lash that you can wear every day and have that little boost and feel like you're bringing an extra oomph to your day to be able to be the baddie that you want to be, at the same time of still, fitting the bill of that professional and being able to feel like you can be taken seriously. And so we've, achieved that through the Confidence Collection, which is, I believe, 7 styles. But the Confidence Kit is really going to be the fan favorites of the Confidence Collection. And a new one, which I call Pretty Please. These are my favorite lashes right now. I feel like nobody can tell me no in these. Like, you can just, you ask for what you need and bat your lashes a couple times, like, Pretty Please. Like, how can you say no to this? Like, you just can't. So that's why they're named that. But yeah, they're exclusively in the Confidence Kit, as well as 4 other styles, being Alpha, Au Naturel, Beijus, and Perfectionist, which, like I said, are our fan favorites. And these lashes are being, able to be worn multiple times. They're sustainable, they're multi-use, they're long-lasting, they're comfortable. Like, they're everything that you would need to, try to own your day. So we welcome people to try us out, let us know what you think, and let us help you and partner with you on this empowerment journey. Like, confidence is a continuum, and we're here to help you start your journey.
Yes, I love it. So I have my own confidence kit. That's what I was saying. I was trying to let you say it, so I didn't have to. I have, I believe, all of these separately, but yes, I'm excited to get to try Pretty Please. And if I could describe it to any lash girls out here or lash guys out there, they're very fluffy, they're very light looking, and they're very doe-eyed appearing. It's a very cute lash. I also was gonna say I have I have another set, and also I enjoy that the packaging that it comes in. It comes in with Own the Room, just like she showed, and then it has kind of the brand story in the background. I like this too because I've actually already traveled with this, and as somebody that is on the go a lot, it just makes it easier to just have one thing that I'm just carrying with me. I have at least 5 pairs of different, like a wardrobe of lashes that I can pick from when I'm on the road. So I like that.
Your glam prescription, okay? 5 days, 5 slays. Okay.
Yes, I love it.
The box as well. Because me, as a lash girly, I love going through lashes like nothing else, and they'll be on my counter. My husband will see them on the nightstand. They're everywhere. But this kind of functions also as like a storage container. So your lashes have a little home that they can go to at the end of your workday, and then you pick them back up like nothing else.
I love that. And then I just so happen to have the Scholar next to me. These are not in the kit, but these are
They're on sale right now, though.
Oh, are they? I didn't know that, for real.
They are. Yes, they are. We have a sale for both the Scholar lashes and the CEO lashes. Those are a part of the Confidence collection.
Okay.
But like I said, they're not mentioned in the kit or not featured in the kit. So
Okay.
we have some options for everybody to try them out.
When does that sale end so that my audience
that sale is going to end on April 15th.
Okay. All right. Well, we will make sure that we get that information out there. Dr. AP, do you have anything else you would love to share with the Docs Get Money podcast audience?
It all starts with the beginning of this journey and just being able to believe in yourself. Know that you have something unique to offer the world, and knowing that there's only one of you who has had this journey. So you are uniquely qualified to bring whatever you're bringing to the table. So many people like to say that you're only limited to being a clinical doctor, and all of the money that you will make is going to be within the paradigms of the hospital. But as Dr. B taught me, these are golden shackles. You have already proven yourself to have such a mental capacity to be able to identify problems, solve problems. And if you apply yourself in that way outside of the typical realms of medicine, your ceiling does not exist. So to any doc that's thinking about it, has an idea and wonders what makes me qualified to do this, you already proved yourself. Just go ahead and go. Go until there's no road left to run, and then forge your own. Like, you got this. You got this.
I love that. Thank you so much, Dr. AP. So where can the podcast audience find you, find more about Power Play? How can we connect with you?
You can connect with us by joining our email list. It is on powerplaycosmetics.com. That is our home space where you will always be able to find us. You can also find us on IG for our business page, which is pwrplay.co, so Powerplay Co. And then you can also find me on TikTok at Elfluence, which is ELLEFLUENCE. That's my TikTok page, and that's where I'm at.
Awesome.
For now.
Yes, for now, until the government may or may not shut it down.
Oh, y'all better cut it out. Don't cut it out, but cut it out. Okay.
Period. AP, thank you so much for this interview. I appreciate your time. And yeah, it's been a great one. So I will look forward to talking to you next time.
All right. Y'all, bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Docs Get Money podcast. New episodes drop every Thursday wherever you find your favorite podcast. Share, comment, follow, and subscribe to the Docs Get Money podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to know more, visit me, Dr. Kimberly Brown, at KimberlyBrownMD.com, and be sure to follow me at Dr. Kimberly B on Instagram. And until next time, let's go get this money, honey.